Salt is often called the heart of every dish. But for patients with hypertension, it's also the heart of many concerns. How much is too much? We all need to know. Let's turn to an expert for clarity regarding ideal salt intake for managing hypertension.
As a doctor, I emphasize that managing salt intake is crucial for hypertension patients. But it's not about eliminating salt entirely. Balance is the key. And the American Heart Association also recommends taking 1 teaspoon of salt per day, and for hypertensive patients it's half teaspoonful. And so here practical guidance what you can do to reduce your salt intake. Well, read labels like processed foods. Read all the labels. They often contain these processed food. They often contain a lot of sodium. And check nutritional labels and aim for low sodium options which are less than 140 milligram per serving. Then cook smart. This is another concept. We have like use herbs, spices, citrus or vinegar to flavor foods instead of salt. Avoid adding salt during cooking or at the table. Don't keep salt at the table, and limit sodium. In restaurants have meals have, and fast food joints have a lot of sodium in that. Condiments, soya sauce, these all have a lot of sodium. So just try minimizing these foods and monitor intake. You can track sodium using apps or food diary to stay within limits, and personally consult your doctor if you are still not able to, and then follow DASH diet. What is DASH diet? That is dietary approaches of stopping hypertension. These diets have low sodium, they have low sugars, they have low fats, so and lots of fruits and vegetables. So try this, and always discuss changes with your healthcare provider, especially if you are on medications like diuretics which affect sodium balance. Consistency, not perfection, is the goal. Thank you.
Thank you, doctor. Your expert advice will empower patients to strike the right balance, savor their meals, and successfully get to goal for healthier blood pressure. One of my relatives has high blood pressure, but tracks it diligently twice a day, keeping a record to stay in control. While some friends tease him, it raises the key question: how crucial is regular BP monitoring, and what's the best way to do it at home? Doctor, please, could you share your expert insights?
Yeah, I would reassure you that your relative habit of monitoring his blood pressure twice daily and keeping a record is not only commendable but also a proactive step in managing hypertension. Regular BP monitoring for several reasons is critical, and there is a practical framework for doing it effectively at home. So let's break it down. Number one, why regular BP monitoring is crucial? Well, you track control. Hypertension is often called the silent killer, and they have got no symptoms. So regular monitoring helps confirm whether lifestyle changes or medications or both are keeping BP in a safe range, typically below 130 by 80 for most of adults, as per American Diabetes Association guidelines, ADA guidelines. So, and second is you detect spikes like BP can fluctuate due to stress, diet or medication issues, and monitoring catches the dangerous spikes or trends early, and preventing complications like heart attack, stroke or kidney damage. Number three, guideline treatment. So data from home monitoring helps doctors adjust medications or recommend lifestyle breaks or changes and accurately, and then you require less doctor's visits. And number four, it empowers patients. How come? Well, recording BP fosters awareness and accountability, encouraging adherence to salt reduction, exercise, or other interventions. So your relative may not realize that hypertension requires vigilance. His habit is a sign of responsibility, not obsession, especially since uncontrolled blood pressure is leading a cause of cardiovascular disease globally. So, what is the recommended framework of home monitoring? Let's break it down. Like, choose right device, like BP. Cuff should be placed 1 inch above the left arm. Arm should be at heart level, so you can sit on the dining table and check your ticket. And opting timing and frequency, twice daily. Measure your blood pressure twice a day. Morning and
Thank you, doctor, for clarifying this important topic. Your guidance inspires patients to take control and confidently get to goal with their blood pressure targets. Exercise is often called the best medicine, but is it the same for hypertensive patients too? If yes, which type of exercises are recommended and which are to be avoided? It's so confusing. Let's ask our experts for insights on the role of exercise in managing high blood pressure and whether there are specific types or durations of exercise recommended for better control.
as a doctor, I would clarify that exercise is a cornerstone of managing hypertension, but the type, intensity, and consistency matters. Different opinions arise because people's bodies and lifestyles vary, but the evidence is clear. Regular physical activity lowers blood pressure, improves heart health, and reduces stress. So let's unpack the role of exercise and provide a practical guide addressing the perspectives you mentioned, like walking, strength training, overdoing it, and inactivity. So the role of exercise in controlling blood pressure: exercise helps control blood pressure by, number one, strengthening the heart. A stronger heart pumps blood more effectively, reducing pressure on arteries. And regular exercise can lower systolic blood pressure by 4 to 6 millimeters of mercury, comparable to some medications, and improving, vessel health. Physical activity enhances, endothelial function, making blood vessels more flexible, reducing stress. Exercise lowers stress hormones like cortisol, which can elevate blood pressure. And another one is supporting weight management. So maintaining a healthy and healthy weight reduces the strain on the cardiovascular system. Enhancing medication, like medication effectiveness. Exercise, complements low sodium diets and medications for BP control. So how the benefits depends on choosing the right type and amount of exercise, as overdosing or doing nothing can be counterproductive. So recommended exercise framework of hypertension is like based on the guidelines from the ADA, American Diabetic Association, and American College of Cardiology. Here is a balanced approach to exercise for BP control. Number one, type of exercise. Both aerobic exercise like walking and strength training have roles, and a combination is ideal. So here's how to stack it. Number one, aerobic exercise like walking, cycling, swimming. So why it's great? Aerobic activities are good standard for blood pressure reduction. They improve heart and lung function, lower resting blood pressure, and are accessible. Walking in particular is low impact, sustainable, and effective. And exercise, and what is the evidence? So studies show that 150 minutes of moderate aerobic exercise per week can lower your systolic blood pressure by 5 to 6 millimeters of mercury. So examples like brisk walking, you can walk but not sing. Jogging, cycling, swimming, or dancing. For walking, I'll say, what is brisk walking? If you are walking, then you cannot talk comfortably like you are going walking with your friends and talking all the time. You should have some breathlessness in your talk when you are walking. That shows your walking is brisk walking. And what is strength training? Strength training, for example, weightlifting, resistance bands, and why it's valuable. Strength training, builds muscle, improves metabolism, and supports overall cardiovascular health. So it has a smaller but complementary effect on blood pressure. And so what is the evidence? Where is the evidence? Moderate resistance training 2 to 3 times per week can lower your blood pressure by 2 to 4 millimeters of mercury. So what are the examples? Like body weight exercise like push-up, squats, free weights, or resistance bands. You can do all this. So what is flexibility and balance like yoga and other type things? Like why it helps? These reduce stress and improve circulation, indirectly lowering blood pressure. And yoga with controlled breathing can be a particularly effective. So what is the evidence? Where is the evidence? Yoga may reduce systolic blood pressure by 3 to 5 millimeters of mercury in some studies. So what is the verdict? So verdict is walking and other aerobic exercises are most effective and accessible for blood pressure, and making them a great starting point. And strength training is a valuable add-on, not a replacement. So combining both plus occasional yoga maximizes benefits. And what is the recommended amount and intensity? Well, frequencies aim for 150 to 300 minutes of moderate aerobic exercise per week, like for example 30 minutes 5 to 7 days, or 75 to 150 minutes of vigorous exercise, for example 25 minutes 3 to 5 days, and add strength training 2 to 3 days per week. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, doctor, for highlighting the critical role of exercise in managing hypertension. Your advice will help patients incorporate the right physical activities into their routines and stay on track to get to goal with the blood pressure targets.